Patreon, going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or learn about me episodes once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore, currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there. So you can try that before you head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first 2 tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man with 1,000 Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/realityt times 2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it. Even if you are on other tier, if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/realityt times 2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. This episode is ad-free on the Patreon. So if you want to partake in that, you can head on over to patreon.com/realityt times 2. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we're going to be discussing B90. We're going to be doing episode 2. So let's just jump right in, do it, y'all. Episode 2. We start off with Rick and Trisha in this one. So this is the episode. It was immediately upon episode 2 where I'm getting creeped out by him. So he has a 30-hour flight. That is ridiculous. We do meet Trisha while he's on his way, and we find out she's a midwife. In her tribe, they believe that every woman should have a child. Bullshit. We find out that Madagascar is the 4th largest island in the world, but they are also the most isolated. There are 20 different tribes in Madagascar. I'm probably going to butcher this. Her tribe is called, I think it's Andactory, I think. It's an aggressive tribe, she says. Aggressive to the point where it's like, you want to take this outside and they'll fuck you up. That was her analogy. We learn about her ex, the one who is accusing her of robbing his family's home. They were together for 3 years, but she broke up with him because he kept cheating on her. And she was very emotional talking about this. And it makes me think, is she over him? And is this a rebound? I don't know. But she says, I trust him, meaning Rick. He's a faithful guy. Who is he? We don't know. Well, I know now, but at this point we didn't know. She's like, he doesn't seem like my ex. We find out from Rick that on the flight, the air conditioning stopped working on the flight, and that's going to come back in because he apparently got a hotel. We see her checking into the hotel. She said, I wanted to stay at my place, but he doesn't like not having AC and hot water, so this is why we have the hotel room. So clearly he is a person who needs AC, which No hating. Same, same. I couldn't imagine. But yeah. So producers ask Trisha, "Are you gonna have sex tonight?" She's like, "Yeah, duh. Like, what's the point of him coming here?" You know what I mean? I mean, really and truly, for him, what is the point of him coming if they weren't gonna have sex? He lands and says that he wants to look good for her, so he's gonna go Darcy it up in the bathroom. He's like, "Probably men all over my woman. I'm about to claim my steak." I'm sorry, what? Claim my steak? Sir, it's steak by claim. Not gonna be the only time he says something stupid. So when she sees him, my girl just jumps right out of her shoes and runs to him. It was actually sweet. And I hated that I felt that way, but it quickly gets weird. Um, After that, because she starts crying and he makes it weird because he says, "Oh, don't cry. Don't cry. Just hold me. Just hold me." Ew, ew. Anyway, it gets creepier after she says, "I can touch his muscles," which is fine but then he says, "Well, I can touch more things later." Ugh. Let me remind y'all, he is 52, she is 25. She is old enough to be his child. Like, seriously, it's, I'm grossed out. I'm disgusted. Anyway, there is so much traffic we see, like really bad. And he's complaining about the fact that there's so much traffic. And she says, "Well, I told you it could take 2 hours to get home. Like, that's how bad the traffic is." And he's like, "Yeah, but it just made me question." Question what? He's like, "I would wait hours to hear from you. It's partially your fault, though, why I would be that way because, you want to text me when you get home." And she's like, "Well, I want us to cook dinner and not waste time texting you." So basically, what he's complaining about is he would not get a text saying, "Babe, I'm home," right as she would walk in the door. Instead, she would walk in the door, God forbid she needs to, pee, wash her hands, you know, um, cook a meal, eat her meal. God forbid she would need to do things before texting him because he would flip a lid. Listen, I am all for the common courtesy, but maybe she realizes that he just wants to have a full ass conversation in her undivided attention, which is why she doesn't entertain all that shit with him and takes care of herself first and foremost, which fine. Listen, when I get home, like like if I'm working out, I'm out of the home, working in the office, I'll text my man while I'm on the train and we'll talk at that point. But when I'm home, I may take an hour, couple hours to text him again, you know? That's not a big deal. Like, I don't need to be I'm just trying I guess what I'm trying to say is, for a grown ass man, this man is 52 years old, the fact that you are hinging shit on this person talking to you immediately upon entering her door, and if she doesn't message you, shit's hitting the fan, is ridiculous. Grow up, is what I'm trying to get at. So they get to the hotel. This place has a loft. We didn't see the loft before. She says, "I'm gonna go shower first if you don't mind." I'm like, "Bitch, she's the one that's been traveling." But okay, she has a plan here. Mind you, he could have showered first, you could have showered after, and then come out in the lingerie, but whatever, what do I know? She comes in a towel, and it gets just even creepier than it's been because he says, "Oh, you're all ready for me." Ew. Like, again, I'm sorry. If a man talked to me like this, saying, "Oh, you're all ready," I'd be like, "Get the fuck away from me. You are gross. This is disgusting." Oh god, it's disgusting. There's no chill. I think that's it. There's just no chill. Like, obviously, a man is going to act a certain way when women or whatever you're into is going to present themselves in a way. You know, I know my boyfriend loves seeing me in lingerie and he will act accordingly. But accordingly is like, oh, you got a smile on your face. Oh, you're locked in on me, but in a hot, sexy, sensual way, not a creepy fucking way like this. Like, this is, he's creepy. That's all I gotta say. But while he was in the shower, y'all, she puts the lingerie on. And when he does come out, yeah, he, yeah. And I'm sorry, camera crew, you stuck around way too long. You need to fuck off. this is no. Anyways, let's get out of this because I hate it here. Let's move on to Forrest. So he's doing his dancer sides videos, and Sheena's doing it with him. That's so sweet. He's like, when we are together, we can work out, and after, we can eat cake because you should be awarded with cake after you exercise. I like I like how he thinks. He tells her that his mom shut down him staying longer because she doesn't trust her parents or Sheena. And she's like, I don't think oh sorry, I think he says, I don't think her parents like me, probably because I made her independent. Okay. So the morning of the departure, we see that there's some tension, and he says, Sheena did some breakup level stuff, did she though? Because we're still here. Anyway, he says that she told him that she had $4,000 saved up for the visa, but she has been giving money to her parents the whole time. So she actually doesn't have $4,000 saved up. And he says this is the third time that she has lied. Apparently, her parents manipulate her and threaten her with saying things like they will throw her out on the street. Which, listen, if they are as bad as they are portraying them to be, shame on them. If it's true and they are saying these types of things to her, shame on them. Seriously, they are horrible fucking people. But honestly, I'll say this because obviously I'm past the second episode. I'm in a world that if Sheena is lying to him, I'm done. Like, I'm done believing in love. Like, you know what I mean? Because I believe her and I want to believe her. And with that being said, I'm going to believe that her parents are the ogres that she's portraying them to be. So his mom did not take this news well, obviously. His mom and stepdad, Dev, I think we talked about in episode 1, is going to be coming. Um, and for whatever reason, maybe for smart reasons, um, Forrest is only traveling to the Philippines with a backpack. Literally just the backpack, nothing else. It must be a really big ass backpack. It is not a big backpack. It is a normal size, school size backpack. And he's traveling all the way to the Philippines with said backpack. Wow. His mom says, I'm not happy. And I don't feel like I can trust her. He says, think about the situation that she is in. But she can't think that far until Dev, the man of reason, comes in and they say, Dev is a man of few words. But when he says something, you have to go there. Or sorry, it says something, you tend to listen. So he says, I think you just have to go there and see her culture to understand how she is. Well, damn. He just summed up the season in one fell swoop. This is Dev's first flight. He's never flown before. And mom asked Dev, "Do you want to join the Mile High Club?" Ma'am, my guy has not been in an airplane. He's already gonna have to experience something he has never experienced before. You now want to add fucking in a airplane bathroom to the mix? How about one thing at a time? And just yeah, one thing at a time. Okay. So we get to the airport and as soon as they get out of the car, she drops her blueberries and she's like, "My snack, my snack. I'm gonna have to eat them all now." Are you? First of all, the only time I've been on an airplane was when I was 4 years old and went to Jamaica. I have bits and pieces of memory when it comes to the flight there and back. But I feel like you're not supposed to bring snacks on an airplane. Maybe I'm wrong, but what was we can't talk about food on an airplane right now. We'll get to it. Um, so where did my little blue bag go? Dev says like he had a little blue bag or something. Where are we going? I don't know. Where are we going? I see a sign that says bathroom. I gotta go. I gotta go to the bathroom. These parents are more like children. More so Molly. Molly's more like a child. How do I find my seat? Um, look at your ticket. Is is what Forrest says. He's like, look at your ticket. Your ticket will tell you what seat you're on, and then I'm going to assume there's going to be something corresponding on the seat saying you which seat that is. Then, as they are en route to San Francisco, because they have like 4 different flights that they're taking, Molly just starts yelling from across the aisle, being like, "Dev, Dev, hey, Dev, yay, flying, San Francisco." Bitch, you are, you, you are on one side of the airplane, meanwhile Dev's on the other, and you're just yelling over top of other people's heads. What the fuck is wrong with you? That is not proper etiquette. I would literally be like, hey, woman, shut the fuck up. What is wrong with you? I paid good money for the seat. I do not want to hear you yelling, "Dad, San Francisco, woo." You know what I mean? Uh, they got Dev his wings, which I thought was very sweet. They had everyone sign. That was very sweet. However, Dev lost his phone. That was not so sweet. Look at this playland. Look at this playland. Do you think that's real? You think that's a real log? No. What is going on? Oh, they have a Harvey Milk terminal. Lovely. I love that they have a Harvey Milk terminal. I think that's fantastic. I really do. But wow, postcards. Ma'am, have you never seen a postcard before? This is new for you because you're seeing postcards that is because they're San Francisco postcards. Is that why? I'm just trying to understand why you're so excited about postcards. They're just postcards. Then they are riding the People Mover and they're having a grand old time riding a People Mover. I mean, again, I've not had the joy of being on a People Mover and an airport, but I have been on a People Mover in Ripley's Aquarium in Toronto. It's not that big of a deal. It's really not. It's really not. Anyway, we learned about the Indonesian girl a little bit. We got little bits and pieces about her. We learned a little bit more from Forrest. So he said that he met her on a karaoke app, very John and Rachel. He went there to visit her. She got him a room, and that's kind of where he stayed for most of the time. He gave her $2,000 American to exchange and bring back to him, which she did exchange them, but then she took the money, and he never saw her or the money again. Here's the thing. I have questions because if you had money But maybe this is his naivete. But if you had money to exchange and, this woman is offering to do for you, why wouldn't you go with her? And be, just because you don't know this person from Adam, you don't know if she's going to actually bring back your money. So why wouldn't you go with her? Like, were you not supposed to do? Like, I just have a lot of questions as to why he wouldn't have gone with her. Not blaming the victim, kind of, but again, I do want to add to the fact that the naivete, but again, I know he's on the spectrum. I know he has ADHD. And I know maybe everyone is different, but again, kind of, I think I did talk about this when we had Niles on the show with Matilda. It was my brother's autistic, and I feel like he has a little bit more common sense to not do what that like with that. I don't know who I can blame in this. Do I blame Forrest? Do I blame Molly? Because again, I feel like with Molly, especially, she seems to really coddle him. And I know uh, I'm my mom can be the same way with my brother to a degree. And I understand that, but you want to protect them, and I get it. I understand it. But I feel like Molly does too much. I feel like she is incapable of letting him go. And we see it kind of with these interactions with Sheena later. And I'll save it there, but it's kind of frustrating because I think he needs to gain more life experience. And I think Molly might be partially why he isn't gaining those life experiences. That whole situation isn't about his autism or his neurospiciness. It's a lack of knowing the world. And I'm sorry, but the person who raises you is kind of what helps you through that. And he has to learn from his mistakes as well. But I don't know if Molly allows him to. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. Anyway, they land in Hong Kong from San Francisco. He can't wait to kiss her. He hears kisses taste salty but sweet. Okay. Like caramel. Okay. We then meet Sheena. She is a vet, and I'm thinking, wait, she's a veterinarian. Uh, uh, how does she have no money? She's a doctor, for Christ's sake. How does she have no money? She says that she works a lot. She works 6 days a week, um, which is, whatever, one extra day. She considers herself as a lonely person, which I thought was really sad. A producer asks, "Do you watch Forrest without him knowing?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's cute. Kinky too." And I'm like, "Okay, okay." She says, "At first, I had a good relationship with his mom. She was thinking that the issues stayed between that, meaning any of the issues, I guess, involving her parents, anything like that, or having to do with the relationship, was staying within her and Forrest's relationship, that it wasn't going further than that. However, he was telling his mom things, as we know. Then we have some text messages, and y'all, I did write them down because I think it's important to write these down. So here we go. Ready? Buckle up. Sheena, I'm very disappointed, and my trust in you has been completely broken permanently. Forrest is destroyed. Do you understand that? How could you do this to him? Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. To our family. You shot, you shit on my son. You shit on your whole relationship. You shit on any love he had for you. There is no excuse. As far as I'm concerned, Forrest needs to end the relationship with you. Wow. That's where it ends. First of all, the caps are ridiculous. Secondly, you shit on our family. What does that have to do? Okay, the relationship that he has with her, how does that really truly directly affect your family? I really want to know. How does that affect anything having to do with the family and on a whole? Like, this is stupid. Thirdly, for you to say to another person that I think he should end the relationship with you is bonkers. That is some crazy level shit. Calm your tits, ma'am. She says, I couldn't sleep. I was crying all the time. You could see that the emotion she has, like right now in this moment. She knows that she was wrong, but she says, I had my reasons. And I guess she's hoping that maybe they can come to terms with those reasons. Anyways, anywho's, that is it for Forrest and Sheena. We're gonna take a quick break here, and when we come back, we will be jumping in with the second half and we're jumping into the second half with a new person. I'll be right back. Hi everyone. So I have a new product for you to partake in. One that I'm going to share with you, and that is Be Believe. So Be Believe in the power of playful learning. So dive into the world of wonder with Be Believe's rich collection of animations, catchy songs, playful coloring pages, hands-on activity sheets, and engaging ebooks. Each element is thoughtfully crafted to captivate young minds while reinforcing positive behaviors in a fun and meaningful way. Whether your little one is watching a magical adventure, singing along, coloring their favorite character, or reading an enchanting tale, every moment is packed with joy, learning, and imagination. So if you go to our unique code or link in order to not only support Be Believe, but also support the podcast, you can head to be-believe.com/reality2. So that's www.believe.com/reality2. So that is REALITEATWO. And the link is also in the show notes where you can also link to that. So head on over to Be Believe with our unique code link, and you can unleash good behavior through enchanting tales, where imagination and good behavior unite. Thank you, Be Believe, for supporting this podcast. Now, back to the show. And I am back. So we're jumping in with the second half with a new person. Her name is Aviva. And all I keep thinking about is the insurance company. I don't know if Aviva is in anywhere else but in Canada. But for my Canadian listeners, we know. Anyways, we meet Aviva and she's like, this is Stick. He has all the women at him. He's a famous rapper in Belize. But he can have anyone that he wants. But apparently he wants me. So Aviva's 26 and she's a dental assistant. She has been in relationships since she was 13 years old. It sounds exhausting. Her and Stick started talking about 2 years ago, and the crazy way in which they started talking, we'll talk about it. Her aunt actually used to live in Belize, so she would go there on vacation. So one time she did go on vacation, she posted a video and she tagged Belize. He apparently saw that and messaged her. I got a question. So wait, is he just going on Twitter, Facebook, whichever the fuck, clicking Belize or going to hashtag Belize and then going through all of those messages on hashtag Belize. Who the fuck does that? Who actually takes time out of their day to do that? I don't know, man. That's sketchy, personally. Anyways, um, she was introduced to his music, so she was kind of fangirling when he messaged her, so she knew who he was. She said not everyone believes in a relationship. And one of those people who doesn't believe in a relationship, it's the aunt for whom lived in Belize, who doesn't live there anymore. So we'll learn about that in a minute. She basically tells Aviva, don't jump into marriage. You'll put all of this work in, and he'll just blow your mind. Or I think that's what she said. We find out that her aunt, she was married, and one day, this is fucking amazing. She was married for like 20 something years, but one day she was at home, she was in America, and she just saw her ex being arrested one day on the television, yeah, with another girl. That is how she found out that her husband was cheating on her. Can you imagine? Jesus fucking Christ. Hey, hey, is that your husband in his tidy whities with that girl in her birthday suit? Did, what's the explanation? Like, if she were to call him up and say, hey, honey, oh, you're calling me from prison? Yeah, I saw that. Who's the girl you got arrested with? What's your explanation? She's my accountant? Like, what do you say? It's just, that is fucking incredible. Um, she's like, that's how I found out he was cheating. Again, yeah, because it wasn't his first time. So, like, this was like the top, like, all the other times in the which ways that she probably found out he was cheating doesn't even matter anymore. This, listen. Oh my God. I mean, ways in which you find out that your partner is cheating on you, she wins. She wins. Wow. So the aunt is basically telling Aviva, I heard that he did a concert for Valentine's Day and he sang this song called Vicky. And apparently Vicky was in the room when he did. Kind of like Soulja Boy when he did Zara. Or yeah, Zara, yeah. It said Zara wasn't in the room. And he hasn't performed, let's be real, because he's sucks. Anyway. But yeah, apparently Vicky was there and they apparently left together. Yeah, that's why I heard all those things. Me, I'd be like, okay, that's probably true. Because why did he create a song about a girl named Vicky unless Vicky is real? And you know what I mean? But Aviva, being just the smart girl that she is, Aviva's like, I don't believe that. You're dumb. You're dumb. You're fucking dumb. At least if you could go in with healthy skepticism, I'm fine. With a healthy dose of just common sense. That's what I'm going to say. That would be lovely. But instead, she's out here being like, I don't think that's true. You know what she reminds me of? You know what she reminds me of? She reminds me of, what is her name? The one there, the white girl who was with the Jamaican boy. I say boy because he was only like 20. Um, what was her name? Jay, and his name was Jay. Her name was, well, it doesn't matter. Jessica? Jennifer? Whatever. White girl with blonde hair. That's who she reminds me of. She reminds me of her a lot. In this, the way she acts, the ignorance, the blissfulness of the ignorance. That's who she reminds me of. Not as stupid, mind you, but similar. Similar. Yeah. Um, she's like, he's just respectful and he's kind to me. So I don't think that he's cheating on me. So you think because a man is respectful, which that's whatever, and that he's kind to you constitutes him not being a dog? I've been I've had men that have been nice to me too, and quote unquote respectful, and still do what the fuck they're doing. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean shit. She is stupid. And I don't know how old is she again. I think I had her age here, 26. I believe, yeah. She's 26. For a woman who's 26 years old, who's been dating for almost half her life now, you would think you have a little bit more common sense about how men can be, but whatever. Um, she's like, he's also 3,000 miles away. That's what her aunt says. Like, you don't know what this man is doing. He's gonna tell you what you want to hear. But what he's physically doing, like, you have no fucking clue. So the aunt is going to be in the country in Belize in a few weeks because she needs to finalize her divorce because the fuck? She needs to finalize her divorce. She says she'll be there. And you know what? I'm gonna take the opportunity to be there to get just down to the bottom of things about Wispistig, okay? Um, so we see her heading to the airport, and y'all, oh my God. Okay, she's heading to the airport, but she has a special thing for him. Okay, she asked him, "What is one thing you would like me to get you that you in America?" This man didn't say cologne. This man didn't say shoes, clothes, none of that shit. This man's like, you know what I really want in America? Panda Express firecracker shrimp. That's what this man said that he wants. And again, the lack of common sense with this girl, because I would be like, nah, me, not I. I'm not gonna do no firecracker shrimp from Panda Express. You want Panda Express? You find that way through DoorDash on your own. I can't help you. However, this bitch says, okay, I will get you your firecracker shrimp. And okay, I'm just okay. I can't I can't. This is so stupid. Like they just don't make this shit up. Um because she goes and she gets it. Not just single firecracker shrimp, okay? Double the firecracker shrimp. And she says she's doing this because he apparently said, if you bring me the shrimp, I'll marry you. Okay. Y'all, I need to talk about this. I don't fucking understand. So, okay, this stupid dummy gets the firecracker shrimp in the styrofoam container that it came in. So, what this girl does, can you imagine? Traveling firecracker shrimp on an airplane? Ew. But my girl doesn't put the firecracker shrimp in a Tupperware container where maybe it won't smell so bad. She leaves it in the styrofoam container of which it came in. Puts a bag over said styrofoam container like that's gonna do shit. And puts it in a backpack for which she's going to be putting in as her carry-on bag. Y'all, I don't understand. Am I crazy? Am I crazy that I'm thinking to myself, you don't have any form of a container that you could put that food into and seal it? And hell, you want to use that plastic bag, you can put the plastic bag and wrap around it just to make it extra safe. Instead, you leave it in the styrofoam container where it could break and the styrofoam can end up all over the food. It's gonna stink. This isn't like it's, I don't know, orange chicken or something. This is seafood. It's fucking shrimp. And you're just letting that shit waft through the plane? Like, what the fuck? Y'all, I'm sorry, but I gotta keep on going with this because this doesn't happen until their next episode. But my girl, when she lands there, throws the shrimp in the garbage. I don't understand. When this bitch, when this stupid dummy threw the shrimp away in the garbage, I was pissed. I was unreasonably mad, but I was mad. And I'm thinking to myself, man, you bought the shrimp for no reason. You made people on an airplane endure the smell of shrimp for the hours of which you were in that plane for no reason. You brought said shrimp to Belize and wafted in front of his face just to throw it out in the garbage. Uh-uh. No. Mm-mm. I would have said, you made me pay for this. Actually, he made you pay for nothing, but bear with me. You made me do this. You're gonna eat the fucking shrimp. 'Cause I doubled it. Not even a single shrimp, I doubled the shrimp. That shit smelled so bad. And she just threw it away. She just threw it away. I'm more mad about her throwing the shrimp away. I just do better. Um, Shrimpgate will come back because I just couldn't hold that in. I had to talk about it. I just can't believe this woman actually traveled to a whole other country with firecracker shrimp from Panda fucking Express. I just can't. But anyways, that is Aviva. Let's move on to our last couple, and that's Emma and Ziad. I'm so upset. I was on a flight for 20 hours. Like, I don't know what is wrong with him. Okay. He thought everything was fine. I respect my religion, he says. I wanted to kiss her cheek, but she cares about her makeup. You're both stupid for different reasons. He never talked about his religion, she says, which I find that really hard to believe. And now, actually, no, I don't. I've dated a Muslim man. I don't find that hard to believe. Anyways, and now I can't ask if you like my boobs. Like, it's something so small. Ma'am, you're in a country of which he will be arrested if he touches you, kisses you. I'm sure talking about boobs is completely off the table. He will be arrested. And you're out here being like, I can't even talk to him about my boobs. It's such a small thing. Like, the fuck? Like, what? Anyway, he goes to her to get her bags. Hi, Ziad. Are you not going to acknowledge how you're acting? Bitch, you don't even see how you're acting. Like, I'm not saying that he's in the right. He's not. But you're both stupid. Did I say that already? Anyway, he puts a bag between them in the car. You know he did that on purpose. You know he did that to be like, you can't touch me now. You can't try and kiss me. It's big between us. You know he did that on purpose. Great. Because that bag definitely could have fit on the trunk. So good. I'm hungry. Let's figure out what we're going to be eating. Like, have you eaten? He says no, he hasn't eaten. That's why you're grumpy, because you're hangry. That's a pretty store. Oh, okay. One minute she's mad. The next minute she's talking about food and that he's probably hangry. The next minute she's like, oh, that's a pretty store. Like, what the hell is going on? Let's go shopping. I love Morocco. I could live here. She is not okay. So are you going to stay at the Riad with me? He says, yeah, I am, but in a different room. And she's like, there he goes, changing his mind again. Now he's not going to sleep on the same bed with me. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. They get there and they have to walk to the Riad. And of course, she's complaining. She's like, are these cats friendly? Can I pet them? This walk is so long. Like, I don't have the right shoes for this. Who the fuck told you then? You could have had the right shoes for this, but you chose not to. Anyways, how would we get food delivered? The delivery driver will bring the food or he'll meet them. I don't like what? Anyways, they get in the Riad. It is beautiful. It is gorgeous. Like, wow. It's like, is this a bedroom? No, bitch. There's no bedroom door. There's no bed. It's just a couch. Is this a bedroom? No. Anyway, he got her a gift. It is a bracelet. They do hug because you can do that. You can hug. But she says, hug me like you love me. No, he wants to hug you like he wants to get away from you. Anyways, um, she sees a window and she's like, oh, this is like Snow White. Snow White was 13. Anyway, so dinner is ready. This is straight out of the movie. Like, I'm like, or like, it's like Romeo and Juliet. Duh. Okay, whatever. She's dumb. Um, they're having tagine, and it looks really good. I have to admit, it looks really good. And he's telling her like how you eat it. You eat it with the bread. You dip it in the bread. So she's doing it, and he's like, deeper, go deeper. Something that I think she wishes he'll do. Anyways, but she's like, I am, and there's just like not deep. Apparently. That's innuendo. And um yeah, so anyways, whatever. They're eating the food. It's fine. They talk about their how they first met. And they're like, no, can we, or she says to him, like, can we do things as like boyfriend and girlfriend? He says, well, no sex until marriage. So nothing? We can't do anything? That's what he means, no sex before marriage. And she says, which I find very interesting, but not surprising. We talked about sex, she says. I showed you my nudes. And he says, talking and doing is different things. It is. But something tells me that Allah wouldn't particularly like you looking at naked women that you are not married to. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Allah is like, fuck it. But like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I just, I don't think that's how that works. And he does say to her, I think you care more about sex than you do about love. I don't necessarily agree with him here. I think it's funny, but I don't agree with him. I think what her issue is, and I think it's valid, mind you, stupid, but valid, that she is confused by the fact that you say one thing and you do another. You're lying to her. And I think that's a valid concern that she wants to address. So, and I'm going to say it again. And I feel like I caught on fairly quickly to this. This is a person who was saying shit over the phone that if things were different and they weren't on a television show, he probably would be doing everything that he said he would do. And I think when the cameras are gone, he is still going to do what he says he's going to do. That's what I think. Now, right away, I had to debate that. I'm like, I don't think this is a person who would jump and do it right away. Because it's not like, I mean, frick, even Asin. Nicole had sex the first time, like the first night or whatever. But I don't even think he will do that. I think he needs to know whether or not he can trust her, that she will keep her mouth shut. 'Cause I think the difference is, I think Nicole, as dumb as Nicole was, actually had the common sense to realize I cannot talk about what we may or may not have done together before marriage. I don't know if Emma's there yet. I don't think Emma could keep her mouth shut if they were to. Um, then the producers confront him because we saw what we saw. The producers saw what they saw. And they confront him about the video call that they had on the beach. And he says, I know what I said. And we know about the hugs and the kisses. She said everything else. That's not incorrect. That's true. But the problem is you didn't have to say it. You implied it. So you didn't say, oh no, we can't do this. Or no, I can't do that. You went along with it, which shows intent. So she says, I'm spiraling because I saw on his social media that he's following all these girls, just like Muhammad, her ex. And I messaged them just like she did with Muhammad. Um, and he says he's not cheating, but now how he's acting, maybe he doesn't want to cheat on those girls. And I'm the other woman, is kind of what she's thinking. Now, do I think he's talking to maybe other women? Yeah, yeah, I do. Do I think that he's necessarily in relationships with those women, like Johan style? No, I don't. Um, do I think he's, because with that being said, do I think he's cheating on those people with her, or on her with those people? No. But again, everyone's idea of cheating is different. So, like, obviously, if you're talking to another woman with the intent of something happening, whether emotional or physically, that is cheating. But so yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. But that is it for them, and that is it for this episode. So yeah, we'll be getting into episode 3 very soon. But until then, y'all, that is it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, bear with me because I have not done an outro for the podcast in quite some time. So bear with me here. So if you liked what you heard, you can go to any of your favorite podcast apps. You can follow, make sure you don't miss a single episode. And you can also rate the podcast at either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It'd be greatly appreciated. As a reminder, any 5-star ratings that are given to the podcast or any comments that are given to the podcast will be read on the podcast, which I have done in the past. If you want to connect with the podcast through social media, you can find me at Facebook and Instagram at Reality T ×2. You can also find me at Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Reality ×2 Pod, I believe. You can email me at realityt2@hotmail.com, and you can have any inquiries, anything like that, any ideas, any shows or episodes you want me to cover, you can definitely do that over there. And I am going back to our old website, and that is at solo.to/reality T ×2. There you can get any of the links to anything that I didn't mention here, any of the socials, website, email, all of that. It's all there for you. And we also have a new thing there where you can help support the podcast as well. It's called a tip jar. And you could type whatever your heart's desire if you want to support the podcast, but don't want to necessarily support the podcast in going to Patreon, for example, or any of the links in any of the advertisements. You can do it there. But since we're on the topic of Patreon, you can head on over to patreon.com/reality tea times two, where there you can get access to even more than what I do here. There are 3 different tiers where you can get these shows ad free, as well as our next tier up where you would get um, another reality show that's being covered. So, we have Jersey Shore that's been getting covered. That's still being covered currently at the time of recording of this outro, but the future is bright with what's to come in the future, which I will be discussing, or I have discussed. I don't even know. And then also our next tier is a true crime tier as well. So you can definitely head over for that. But that is basically it. I will also just quickly mention here too, if you're interested in a different take of a podcast that I'm a part of, where we do things a little differently, you can head on over to Next Take Podcast, where I usually drop bonus episodes here on this feed, but there you get a lot more. And that podcast is making changes. We're growing, doing new things, but you can definitely head on over there if you want to just hear a little bit different than what I do over here. So you can find that podcast over at our website, solo.to/next take podcast. And there we'll have all the links to your desire that will link you to any of your favorite podcast apps or YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of it. Social medias, it's all over there. But of course, you can still find that podcast at any of your favorite podcast apps. But that is it for this episode. We'll see you next time with another episode. Bye, everybody.